Hi, this is the second part about advertising, the part where I don't love advertising not so much. The first part, love advertising. Second part is about what I don't like. Guys, my name is Eric Königsdorfer and I started this channel wanted to share with you what I've learned during my career in branding, advertising and graphic design. This is what I call brand communication. Today we are going to talk about the dark side of advertising. Advertising is often an unwelcome guest around the dinner table, unwelcome guest on our computer screen, around our newspapers, articles. It is a bit too much. When each of us are constantly, every day bombarded with advertising messages, our attention and headspace is very precious. And we really need to think about how we allocate this attention, this headspace and this precious time of ours amongst an overabundance of media messages which compete to suck out this attention of ours. Today, the biggest advertising agencies are no longer advertising agencies. There is 4 big conglomerate, international, multinational, that were the king of advertising, no longer. Today, tech companies like Facebook and Google are the king of advertising. Digital advertising is also a threat to our security and privacy. A lot of malware are now distributed with those little billboard ads. This malicious advertising, also called maladvertising, is getting common nowadays and used by bad guys to either draw you into a bad website that will suck all your privacy and information out of you, or you click it on and will drop some malware of some sort, or some Trojan horse or something, or some virus. An early Facebook employee, Jeff Hammerback, famously said when he quit the company, "Today, the best minds of my generation are hired to make people click on ads, and that suck." That's what he said. Advertising is everywhere, we know that. It's also, more worryingly, invading our public spaces like schools. And some experts associate this invasion in schools as child exploitation. And of course, the predominance of advertising targeted to those kids at schools is to sell bad stuff, like fatty food and sugary drinks, which is a genuine, serious concern for our future generations' health. A survey in 2018 saw that the general approval in public opinion about advertising is going downward very, very fast. As we saw in part 1 of this series about advertising, in 1970s, American people were seeing about 500 messages a day, advertising messages. Today, it's 10,000, 15,000 advertising messages that we are exposed to every single day. That's about 1 message every 10 seconds. Also, in response to this overabundance of advertising and invasion of our privacy and headspace and attention, people have been moving away, understandably, from TV broadcasting and traditional media because there is too much advertising on it. So they've been moving away to the on-demand, like Netflix, platforms where you can just watch what you want without being constantly interrupted by unwanted advertising messages. So of course, this mass desertion of traditional platforms for distributing advertising messages is hurting advertising agencies, the traditional old-fashioned one. You could say old-fashioned now because the tech companies have taken over, like Facebook and Google. People now are installing ad blockers on their computers. In response to this, Apple has released in their new OS 14 a compulsory, standard ad blocker. And when you will be surfing the web, you'll be automatically prompted with a window that will say, there is an invasion into somebody's dropping a cookie or whatever on your computer. Do you want that or not? And of course, how many people do you think will say, no, block that ad. I don't want them to just suck up the information from my computer and come and bother me every 5 minutes. I want to watch an email or read my emails. People using ad blockers are definitely on the rise. So what are the tech companies going to do about that? Today, virtually all news sites dispensing news, you read an article about the news, they have about 75% of the real estate of the page covered with advertising. That leaves you a quarter of the page to actually get the content you are after in the first place. 3/4 of that page is something that you do not want to see. You did not click on that page or that link to read about promotion on new potatoes that are cheaper than next door potatoes. No, you click on that link to read the news or whatever, something about the elections. The old-fashioned advertising agencies, like we say, those 4 big conglomerates mainly, they haven't changed their methods and strategies at all, despite the advent of the internet. All they are doing now, they are just using the web like they were using the TV screen before. All they do is use this platform just to splash again banners and spots everywhere. Nothing new here, and obviously it's not working. And what do they do when it's not working? They just put more of it. So internet today is just a junkyard of old methods used for the mass media marketing. And like I said, advertising agencies are treating the web just like another TV screen. So this invasion on our attention, on our headspace, has to be treated like an invasion, a theft of our privacy. Adverts that come in between the audience and the content that the audience is after is an unsolicited interruption. With the advent of the iPod from Apple and iTunes, the music industry lost 80% of its market. A drastic change, obviously. That was between 1999 and 2010. But they bounced back. They learned from the new marketplace and they adapted and survived very well. Now you see music streaming platforms everywhere and it's commonplace. The old way of buying music has died, a new way has replaced it. Newspaper, travel agencies, retail, banking, the auto industry, healthcare, and even governments have adapted and survived very well with this internet revolution. Advertising agencies? Not so much. They are still churning out the same 30-second spot that they were doing in the 80s. With the advent of Netflix and the Ondemand platform, why would we let advertising messages interrupt our entertainment and precious R&R time? Of course we don't. So on-demand platforms are thriving and traditional TV broadcasting market is falling apart. This constant advertising bubble is definitely ruining the experience. This unrestrained invasion of our privacy is not only ignorant and rude, it's also arrogant. More concerning still, thanks to YouTube, everyone has a platform now where they can have freedom of speech and express their opinion and talk about whatever they are passionate about. A cooking show, politics even, whatever. They can make fool of themselves if they want to, they can entertain, they can be funny, they can show skills, they can share something exciting they are doing with others. It is a great platform. Regular YouTube stars are called influencers. Well, agencies has now come up with something new. They were using influencers before, but influencers are people, maverick people, independent people, not easily controllable, and they also come at a cost. You got to pay them to endorse your product. Not always easy. Agencies have now created fake influencers. And we are talking digital people, characters, who have an Instagram account or YouTube channel, whatever, followers. Some fake influencers have more than 1 million, 1.5 million, or 2 million followers. There is conversation between this fake digital person, influencer, and real people. Where is the limit in reality here? And of course, this fake digital influencer is absolutely free to the agencies, completely controllable, malleable, and in my opinion, a very dangerous tool. So much that I want to talk about it in a dedicated episode a bit later on. So here we are. I used to love advertising. Advertising was fun, smart, witty. It was a real entertainment, enjoyed by all. That was from the 60s, high in the 80s, 90s, up to about mid-2000. And after that, not much happened. Basically, when internet arrived, changed a lot of things. My point is to say that advertising, too much advertising, killed traditional mass media marketing tools like TV broadcasting and newspapers and all that. And it's going to do the same thing with internet. You see, I still love advertising, and I know that advertising will bounce back and do something great again. I love advertising, but I don't want to see it become like a virus that just spreads and infects everything that it touches. This overabundance of advertising message also cheapens the advertising message. You can't just say something of quality that often and that much. The advertising message today is very cheap and very crude and very boring and horrible and very basic. It has lost authenticity. It is not offering something good and interesting to people. It is just bombarding you with stuff that you don't want. This lack of authenticity is resented by 86% of the target audience now. It's a huge amount of people revolting and not agreeing with this constant bombardment. 86%. So one could say very easily that Facebook and Google advertising is working very well. It's making a lot of money. And yes, it is. But not because it's good. It's not a good message. It's a horrible way to send a message. And that's going to be short-lived. People are not going to put up with this stuff for long, obviously. They were turned off the traditional media because of that same problem. It won't make it better. It will just bring more ad blockers, or people will just turn away to a more genuine platform, enjoyable, with a real entertainment value. Nobody likes garbage. We put garbage in a bin. If advertising becomes garbage, we will just ditch it. So I am sure that the advertising agencies will come up with something great to offer value content this time and continue to capture their audience with genuine content and real entertainment value. We'll soon see what the industry will come up with, but I'm hopeful. That's it for now. See you next time.